Hello, my name is Faith Mulungi and I am an SRHR trainer, media personality and digital influencer, and I also am a freelancer. Today was day 4 of the sexual harassment training by Tebere Arts, and I was the facilitator. Today we were talking about how to empower survivors of sexual abuse and harassment and how to create safety for them, what to do. So that's what the session looked like. We were just going through where to go in case we know of survivors and how to create a community of helpers around them and how to look out for them. Most people do not know what to do should they find themselves victims or even survivors of sexual violence, but also an unwillingness for the system to work. There is no clear format of reporting. There is not so much information out there for people that come forward to report these cases, but also backlash from abusers, because if you know anything about sexual abuse or harassment, is the fact that abusers create a community of protection. So a lot of people don't see the point. The convictions aren't that many. So if maybe the system worked, then we would see more people come out and also know how to document, to sort of prevent evidence, but also the money. Besides justice, a lot of people can't afford therapy to rebuild their lives from these traumatic events. Like I said, the list is endless. I think that you can only stay silent for long. By virtue of being someone that has some sort of influence, I think that it's a disservice if I do not use my skill set, the knowledge that I've got, and my platforms to address this scourge, because anyone can be a victim of sexual abuse and harassment, and silence enables it to grow. So I think that I stayed silent up until a certain point where I realized that silence wasn't protecting me, neither was it doing anyone else around me that was affected by this scourge. It wasn't doing them any service. So you have no choice but to speak up. So imagine a policy where all these tiny groups, production houses, they were reporting to one place. I think that would then give a system where, should the production house or a set or a director fail to protect their workers or their cast from sexual abuse, then they would know where to go. But right now where we are at, if you fall out or if you're a victim of abuse from one area, you can easily be blacklisted because of the chain of protection for abusers, but yet we don't see a system that enables and protects people that have survived sexual harassment. But also I would love to see a policy against exploitation, because for an industry that is buzzing and growing, a lot of people fall prey or are taken advantage of because of the need to break through into this industry. And this is because they are groomed and preyed on for their willingness, I don't want to call it desperation, but their willingness to make it in the industry. So maybe if we address the exploitation, then we would see that the system can take in people for their talent and not exploit them, promising them things that don't exist. I think that artists have a very big responsibility, because art is a reflection of what is already existing in the communities. But then are they aware, and what kind of what are their values? What do they stand for? We have seen time and time and again artists with very big platforms being the very perpetrators of sexual violence and sexual harassment. So we also need to look at the fact that they are human beings too at the end of the day. And while it is their responsibility to re-echo and address some of these systems, their being artists should not shield them from any form of accountability or consequences should they be found as perpetrators. So we need to continue having conversations like this to raise awareness, so that those that have been affected by harassment can name it, can fully say, this is what has happened to me, and then we get to see consequences. Then we'll see maybe the shift from just expecting them to speak out, but to them being people that walk the talk. I think as a facilitator, it's rather sad that we still have fewer people coming in for these conversations, yet we know that sexual harassment is holding back the industry a great deal. So I encourage you that when you see conversations like this happening, please do make time, because you need this knowledge, you need this skill to arm yourself, to protect yourself, but to also play your part in making sure that we fight against sexual harassment in the performing arts space.